I went on vacation recently and I meticulously and strategically packed my camera bag with the intent of creating not only videos, but also taking some photos. But here's the problem. I never even took the camera out of the bag. And at first I felt a little guilty, like this was a missed opportunity. But then something interesting started to happen. I started to notice photos without taking photos. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about is reflection and talk about the art of noticing. So as I said earlier, my family and I went on a vacation to Hilton Head, which is one of our favorite places to go. And I had very specific shots in mind because in Hilton Head, one of the most common modes of transportation is a bicycle. And so I had a lot of minimalist photos in mind with bicycles and just pretty beach scenery. Beaches have some of the most hazy, soft light because of, I don't know, whatever is in the atmosphere. It just lends itself to really nice photos, and I had several photos in mind that I wanted to try and create. But again, I didn't even get the camera out of the bag. Because once we got there, I realized that we were only there for a finite number of days, and I realized that I really just wanted to be present. It was with my entire family and my two beautiful daughters, and I knew that if I took time to go make photos and to go make videos, that I would be ultimately taking time away from them. So I would be robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I just, at the end of the day, wasn't willing to pay Paul, if that makes any sense. However, my photography brain never really shut off, and it's probably in some ways a product of doing this thing for over a decade. But what I kept noticing was, how the light would hit this particular couple as they were walking down the beach, or how the light would shine through with beautiful shafts underneath the live oaks with the Spanish moss, how it would light up the golf courses. I just saw the light for what it was. And in some ways, even though I wasn't shooting, I was still seeing photos. My favorite focal length is probably somewhere around 40 to 45 mil. So I typically spend a lot of time on my 35 and my 50 mil. And so that's kind of how I have learned to see. And so I was seeing compositions that would have been perfect for either one of those lenses. And to me, that kind of made me realize that noticing is a skill in and of itself. And I think you can practice photography and this particular skill even without taking photos. Because photography isn't just about clicking a shutter. It's about learning to see. And you can actually practice that anywhere, anytime. You don't need a camera in your hand to ask, where's the light coming from? What is the most interesting angle to capture this subject in? And you can also think about, what would this composition look like 6 feet to the left, 6 feet to the right? All of these things, you can practice these things without ever having a camera. And in some ways, noticing becomes easier if you don't have a camera in your hand. Because I've found that if you have a camera in your hand, you have this driving force to force photos sometimes. Maybe you see something that you thought you might like, but you also realize the photos aren't going to take themselves. So you may force a photo as opposed to slowing down, analyzing the light, noticing the scene, and noticing where would be the best place to take this photo. So this was just more of a reflective story and something that I noticed again by not ever getting the camera out of the bag. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where maybe you intended to take photos, or maybe you would have liked to have taken photos, don't beat yourself up over not taking the photo. Because as I said earlier, I believe you can still practice photography and noticing even without a camera. And it's also 100% okay to simply be present and not worry about taking photos. And so the next time you're out, whether you have a camera or you don't, whether you intended to take pictures or not, try this. Look for good light and the angle that it's coming in from. Notice interesting shadows and practice framing, maybe even with your hands. Because I think the more that you learn to see, the more powerful your photos will become once you pick the camera up. So let me know in the comments below if you've ever had a moment where you maybe felt guilty after not taking the photos that you wanted to take, or a time in which you went somewhere and you decided to be present as opposed to being a photographer. So I would suggest not forcing yourself to do this thing that you enjoy, because that adds so much more pressure than you need to. Photography's fun, and if you're forcing yourself to do it, you may be losing sight of what brought you to this phenomenal art form to begin with. So until next time, keep noticing and keep shooting, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Are we going? Are we rolling? Oh, are we recording? Full transparency, I don't even think I took more than... Okay, yeah, I took 2 photos with my cell phone on the beach. That's it. And they are of my mother and her grandkids. Yeah, I don't know if this video makes any sense to anybody, but it was just something that kind of hit me, and I thought, I'm sure I'm not the only photographer to ever set out with great intentions, pack with great intentions. My bag was so well packed. I didn't waste a single inch of space with gear that I knew I wasn't going to use. I had thought all of this out, took microphones, all of these things with great intentions. And then when I got there, just decided that being present was more important than being a photographer. So hopefully this encourages somebody out there.